As a doctor, I've faced many challenges in my career, but nothing prepared me for the day I saved a baby's life, only to be sued by the mother. This is not just a story about professional obligation, but also about a chilling encounter with a woman who gave new meaning to the term entitled parent. You may have heard about the case. Karen, mom sues doctor for saving her baby's life, gets arrested. But you've never heard it from my perspective. Here's how it all went down. I never thought I'd be in a situation where saving a life would lead to such chaos. But there I was, in the middle of a campground, with Karen screaming at me, her face red with fury. "You're killing my baby!" she shrieked as I performed CPR on her little girl. Let me back up a bit. My name's not important, but what I do is. I'm a doctor, and I was enjoying a weekend away at a serene campground, a much-needed break from the hustle of the hospital. That's when I heard the commotion. Karen, a notorious figure around the campground for her stubborn and often unreasonable demands, was causing a scene. Her daughter, not more than 3 years old, had choked on a small toy and was struggling to breathe. Without a second thought, I rushed over. "Stand back!" I commanded, as I began the life-saving procedure. Karen, however, was having none of it. "You're hurting her! Stop! You're killing my baby!" she screamed, trying to push me away. Her words were like venom, but I focused on the task at hand. The child's life was at stake. Ignoring Karen's protests, I continued with the CPR, and thankfully, the little girl coughed up the obstruction and began to breathe again. The crowd that had gathered let out a collective sigh of relief. But Karen, she was a different story. "You had no right!" she yelled, her eyes wild with anger. "I'm going to sue you for this! You assaulted my baby!" The next few weeks were a blur. Karen actually went through with her threat. She sued me, claiming I had harmed her child. The case was ludicrous, but it caused a stir. The media got wind of it, and suddenly, I was the doctor who was being sued for saving a baby's life. The trial was a spectacle. Karen played the victim, twisting the story, painting me as a villain who had recklessly intervened. But the truth has a way of coming out. Witnesses from the campground testified, recounting the events accurately. The judge saw right through Karen's story. In a dramatic turn of events, Karen's deception and her aggressive behavior towards me and others at the campground came to light. The judge was appalled, not just by her baseless lawsuit, but by her overall conduct. "You endangered your child's life and then had the audacity to blame and sue the very person who saved her," the judge said sternly. "This is not only irresponsible, it's criminal." Karen's face went pale. She stammered, trying to defend herself, but it was too late. The judge ordered her arrest for child endangerment and for filing a false lawsuit. As she was led away in handcuffs, Karen's eyes met mine. There was no remorse there, only a burning hatred. "You haven't seen the last of me," she hissed. The campground, once a place of peace and relaxation, had become the backdrop for a bizarre and unsettling drama. As I walked away, I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. Relief that the truth had prevailed. Sadness for the little girl caught in her mother's twisted world, and a lingering unease about Karen's parting words. https://lh3.googleusercontent.com/a/aedftp63 eistlxphggk4 ugjgen_6 cpois plef _tz =s96-c. As Karen was led away, the campground fell into an eerie silence. People exchanged glances, a mix of shock and disbelief painted on their faces. I stood there, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders, yet a heavy heart for the child involved. In the days that followed, Karen's arrest became the talk of the town. The media swarmed the campground, looking for any juicy details they could find. I was approached for interviews, but I declined. This wasn't fame. It was a sad situation that I wished had never happened. But the story didn't end there. Karen's trial became a public spectacle, drawing attention from all corners. Advocates for child safety and legal experts weighed in, discussing the implications of her actions. The courtroom was packed every day, with people curious to see the outcome of such an unusual case. During the trial, more about Karen's past came to light. She had a history of erratic behavior and making unreasonable demands at various establishments, always playing the victim when things didn't go her way. Her stubbornness and refusal to listen to reason had put her in difficult situations before, but nothing like this. Witnesses from the campground testified, recounting Karen's hysterical behavior and my attempts to save her daughter. The evidence was overwhelming, and Karen's defense crumbled under the weight of her own lies. The climax of the trial came when the prosecution presented video footage from a camper's phone. It showed the entire incident, from Karen's initial panic to my intervention and her subsequent outrage. The video was indisputable proof of my actions and her unreasonable response. Karen's face, once full of anger and defiance, fell. She knew she had lost. The jury didn't take long to deliberate. The verdict was unanimous, guilty on all counts. The judge's sentence was harsh but fair. Karen was to serve time for child endangerment and for the false lawsuit. Additionally, she was ordered to undergo psychological evaluation and counseling. It was a clear message that such reckless behavior would not be tolerated. As Karen was taken away, I felt a sense of closure. The ordeal was over, but it had left its mark. The little girl was placed in the care of relatives, away from the toxic environment her mother had created. The aftermath of the trial lingered. People debated the ethics of my intervention, though most agreed it was necessary. I became somewhat of a reluctant hero, praised for my actions but wishing the circumstances had never arisen. In the end, the experience taught me a valuable lesson. In my profession, I'm trained to save lives, often in the most critical and unexpected situations. But this incident was a reminder that the unpredictability of human nature can sometimes be the most challenging aspect to deal with. As I returned to my regular life, the echoes of the incident remained. But I took solace in knowing that, despite the chaos and controversy, a young life was saved. And that, above all, was what truly mattered. Wow, what a roller coaster of a story. I can't believe the audacity of some people. Huge respect to the doctor for keeping cool and doing what needed to be done in that intense situation. It just goes to show, you never really know what you're going to encounter when you step out of your door in the morning. Stay safe, everyone. And remember, not all heroes wear capes, some wear stethoscopes. I never thought I would lose a friend over a white elephant gift exchange, especially not someone as close to me as Brittany. She had always been a bit entitled, but her reaction to a simple game at a Christmas party truly surpassed anything I could have predicted. Here's how it all went down. This all happened almost 10 years ago, but after spending all morning reading stories on this subreddit, I felt like sharing my own experience. For years, I, male, early 30s at the time, was close friends with Brittany, female, same age as me. Brittany and I had attended college together, gone on trips together, and were pretty much inseparable. She always had a bit of an entitled streak to her, but it was never anything drastic. She usually kept it restrained to things like being the only one to choose which restaurant our group of friends went to, or having her seat in each friend's home. Annoying, yes, but pretty mild overall. Then, Christmas came. A mutual friend of ours decided to hold a Christmas gathering for our large extended friend group, which included both me and Brittany. This friend, Mary, had recently gotten married and bought a new house with her new husband, Matt. Mary's wedding had been a small, private, family-only affair. To celebrate with friends, as well as celebrate their new house and the holiday, Mary invited about 30 people from our extended friend group to a big Christmas party. It was wonderful. Mary has always been an exceptional cook, and she insisted on providing everything for the guests. She did all of the cooking, bought a plethora of drinks, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and made sure none of her guests were without a drink or a plate of amazing food all night. Mary had only one request for her guests. Each person bring a gift to contribute to a white elephant gift exchange. Happily, especially given how much Mary and Matt shelled out to feed us all, we all brought a gift. For those not familiar, white elephant exchanges, called Yankee Swap or Dirty Santa in some places, involve everyone bringing a wrapped gift. Then, one by one, each person chooses a gift from the pile. The first person opens his or her chosen gift. Then the second person can either open a new gift or take the first person's gift. Third can take the second's or first gift or pick a new one, on and on until everyone has had a chance. Then the first person gets the last chance to take. One rule put in place in a lot of these exchanges is that a gift can only be taken twice. So if you are the third person to get your hands on a gift, it is yours for good, and no one can take it from you. This was the downfall of Mary's gift exchange, at least when it came to Brittany. The gift exchange started, and people were having fun taking blankets, candles, gift cards, and the like from other friends. No one was upset if their gift was taken. After all, it's all for fun, and we are all friends, right? Well, Matt, Mary's new husband and party co-host, was really good at making his own beer. As his gift in the exchange, he wrapped up a full case of this amazing dark stout that he made. Bob opened that and was excited. We all knew how amazing the beer was as we had been drinking it all night at the party. Then, Tim stole the beer from Bob. We laughed. Bob was disappointed, but he gave it over to Tim in the spirit of the game. Then it was my turn. I stole the beer from Tim. Like Bob, Tim was disappointed but willingly gave me the beer and laughed along with his disappointment. Notice that I was the third owner of the case of beer? That means that, per the rules of Mary's game, I was safe from having the beer stolen from me. Brittany was the next to go. She tried to steal the beer but was reminded by several people that the beer had been stolen twice, so it was now, officially, mine. Instead of just picking a new gift or stealing someone else's, Brittany threw a fit. All the other gifts are poor. That's not fair. The beer's the only thing I want. I wouldn't have played if I knew this silly rule. On and on and on she went. She was making everyone uncomfortable, especially Mary. Matt intervened and politely asked Brittany to just play along. He reminded her there were still a few bottles of the stout in the kitchen if she wanted one. But no, Brittany couldn't handle not having the full case to take home with her. She pouted and refused to pick another gift or play the game. So we skipped her. The game continued on and everyone, other than Brittany, had a gift. With only one gift left, Brittany was forced to take that or nothing. She chose nothing, and on top, continued to complain about how unfair the rules were. The person who brought the unclaimed gift took it back and gave it to Mary and Matt as a housewarming gift. Seeing that, Brittany stormed out and left. I thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. Over the next few days, I was barraged with text messages from Brittany demanding that I give her the case of Matt's beer. She didn't ask if I would share it, which I probably would have done. She demanded that I give it to her outright, saying, "You know the rules were nonsense and it should have been mine anyway." When I told her no, she started with guilt trips. "You make more money than me, so you can buy expensive beer and I can't. We've been friends for so long, it's only right. You're just being selfish." The final message from her was, "I hope you choke on it, jerk." I blocked her number, removed her from my Facebook friends list, and haven't spoken to her since. Nor for that matter have Mary and Matt, nor about a third of the party guests. She lost a lot of friends, all over a case of beer. It was a darn good beer though. I thought of Brittany every time I drank a bottle. Hearing this story, it's clear that the incident wasn't just about a case of beer. The beer was merely the catalyst that brought Brittany's entitlement to light. It is unfortunate that a friendship ended this way, but it's also a reminder that respect for others and their boundaries is vital in maintaining healthy relationships. My best friend's wife dropped a bombshell that threatened to shatter our lives. She falsely claimed that she and I had an affair. This vile accusation not only put my marriage on the line, but also strained my lifelong friendship, casting me into the most tumultuous days of my life. Here's how it all went down. The last 4 days have been the most terrible in my life. I am clueless on how to deal with anything and wanted to get opinions on what to do next since I see posts like this on Reddit. My best friend's wife told him that she had an affair with me, which never occurred. I, 35-year-old male, have been married to my wife, 35-year-old female, for 8 years. We have 2 wonderful kids. However, this is about my friend Josh, 35-year-old male, and his wife Mary, 34-year-old female. I met Josh during my freshman year of college, and we have been friends ever since. We have always shared our love for tech, and he is always my go-to guy when I need someone to talk to. Josh started dating Mary 5 years ago. Let's say Mary has a very different set of morals than my wife or me. She is very loud, manipulative, and just craves attention. Josh and Mary had been dating on and off for 4 years. They broke up often, but somehow always ended up together after a few months. Mary is always the one who breaks up with Josh and then takes him back. I also know that Mary cheated on Josh at least with 2 guys when they were dating, but somehow convinced him that he was not putting enough effort into the relationship. Josh always blames himself for Mary not being happy. My wife also knows about all of this and has always kept her distance from Mary. However, we do meet her often during parties with friends. Josh and Mary married last year. However, a month ago, Josh discovered Mary's infidelity with a coworker. Devastated, Josh sought refuge at our place for a week before confronting Mary and evicting her from their home, a property he had bought before their marriage. As far as we know, Mary has since moved back to her parents' house. I've been supporting Josh through this challenging time, and he filed for divorce last week. Last Saturday, Mary and her father came to collect her belongings from Josh's house. Against my advice, Josh stayed to ensure she didn't take anything that wasn't hers. During this visit, an argument broke out. Mary falsely accused me of having an affair with her, claiming it had happened in their bedroom while they were married. I have always kept my distance from her and believe she is attempting to hurt Josh with this lie. Following this incident, a visibly upset Josh came to our house, accusing me of infidelity with Mary. Caught off guard, my wife and I were shocked by his accusations. When he attempted to hit me, I managed to hold him down and reassure him that Mary's claim was untrue. My wife threatened to call the police, which prompted him to leave. My wife was distraught after the incident. It took hours to convince her that Mary was manipulating Josh. Since I work from home and rarely leave the house without my family, I believe she trusts me, but she's been acting differently over the past few days. Josh has told many of our friends that I had an affair with Mary, and he's now ignoring our calls. We attempted to contact Mary, but she also hasn't responded. Many of our friends, including Josh, believe Mary's lie. I'm at a loss as to how to convince them otherwise, and would appreciate any advice on how to handle this situation. First of all, thanks to everyone who suggested that we should file for defamation. I just kept on thinking in my head how I could get Mary to tell the truth and convince Josh that I had completely forgotten the legal route. I was not able to update as the lawyers had told us not to say anything until we got a confession from Mary. After posting on an online forum, my wife and I spent a few hours at night reading through all the comments. We immediately decided to explore whether we could sue Mary for defamation. Some of you suggested that I should take a polygraph test. I asked my wife if we should find a place for that, and she smiled. She said she does not doubt me one bit, but we can't let people have any doubt that I had an affair with Mary. Our kids are friends with their kids, and we can't live with them thinking I had an affair with Mary. She just wanted us to be strong and solve the issue as soon as possible. In the morning, we messaged my wife's mother's friend, who is a very experienced attorney. We called her based on the time she gave us in the morning and explained the issue. She said that we should pursue the legal route, but she does not handle such cases and gave us the contact of another attorney in her firm and set up a meeting with her at noon. We went to visit her and discuss the issue. The lawyer told us that we could sue Mary as she has made false accusations, and there is a precedent of considering what she said as slander, as it attacked my character and we can prove emotional distress. However, she told us that a defamation lawsuit is a very long and expensive process and may take several years. She told us that Mary has a weak hand and she will not want to go to court. Hence, we should give her a way out by telling her to give in writing that what she said was false. Moreover, as she said the false statement to Josh, we would need Josh to state what she said. I won't go into details here, but might post it in the comments later on. However, we came up with a plan for sending her a letter of intent to sue for defamation. The attorney worked on this and we got notified that Mary received the letter on Friday morning at her parents' place. The letter told her that we would sue her by the end of the month if she did not provide an official statement in writing that the statements she had made were false. The letter also told Mary to only communicate via the law firm regarding this matter. As planned, I messaged Josh and told him we had decided to sue Mary for defamation due to the false statements she made about the affair. We would leave no stone unturned to prove that the allegations are false. Our lawyers will contact you next week, and we hope you cooperate with them and tell them exactly what she said to you. On Saturday morning, as I was cooking breakfast and my wife was sitting with our kids, the doorbell rang. I saw the Ring camera that Josh and Mary standing outside the door. Before I could tell my wife to stay back and not open the door, she bolted toward the door. She opened it and started yelling at Josh. She is 5'0" tall, but she is scary when she is angry. She just started calling him names and how can he destroy our lives when we supported him at his lowest? Josh just kept saying he just wanted to talk to me and kept repeating that. He looked down. My wife just kept on yelling at him and telling him to get lost. Mary started talking then, saying that she was sorry for what she said. Josh was upset with her as she was packing and she just said that to hurt him. She just kept on saying that Josh is such a jerk and has created such a big mess. My wife turned to her and told her that she better find a good lawyer to reply to our lawyers. At last, she told Josh that if he wanted to meet me, go and first make things right for me and then slam the door. I was watching all this from the breakfast table through Ring camera and realized that we recorded the whole conversation, including Mary confessing her lies. I felt so relieved in the moment knowing that I had proof of her telling the truth. We forwarded the video to our lawyer, and she sent a thumbs up and called us briefly to say that we should meet on Monday to discuss the next steps. After an hour or so, Josh messaged our friends group that he did a terrible thing and spread false statements about me. He is ashamed of it and wants to apologize for it. Moments later, Mary messaged saying that some statements she made were misconstrued by Josh and that what he told everyone was false. Their relationship is going through rocking times and would thank everyone for giving them privacy and to pray for them. The rest of the day has been great. I have been taking my kids to their Saturday activities and playing with them, while my wife was talking on the phone with all my friends' wives and her friends gossiping about what happened. The only thing I told her was to not send the Ring video of Josh and me from last week, and not to mention Mary's affair to them. I still think it's a private matter that Josh told us in confidence, and we should respect that. Everyone was shocked that Josh attacked me physically. Regarding my friends, I made a sweeping statement that they all disliked me in the last post. However, in reality, 4 of my friends called me during this week to ask me what was happening. They told me they knew how eccentric Mary was and asked me how they could support me. One of the friends was the one that Josh had called. He told me that Josh told him that Mary had an affair with me and he had filed for divorce. He conveniently left out the part about her cheating on her coworker. I don't think anyone apart from my wife and I know the whole story. He knows at least 2 of the other friends Josh called and said the same. Due to this, the gossip started spreading that they were divorcing because of me, and most of my friends were just waiting on the sidelines instead of extending support to me. However, I think I learned who are the people that got my back in need. About Josh, we still plan to file for a temporary restraining order against him and Mary next week. The lawyer said we should be able to get it for Josh as there is clear evidence of danger, but Mary might be a long shot. We will see what to do from there. As for our friendship, it's done. It ended the minute he decided to hit me, instead of at least asking me if it was true. I can't have people like him around my wife and kids. He was a great friend, but my family and their safety have a much higher priority than him. For Mary, I guess she wins. My wife still wants to push to get her to pay our legal fees. We will see what to do on Monday. However, she was able to destroy Josh's support system with one lie. I was helping Josh through the whole divorce process, but he is on his own now. I also do not think many of my friends would be kind to him after the mess he tried to create at my house. I feel bad for him, and I know he needs support and professional help. However, I did my part, and I hope he understands what's right for him in the future. Thanks again for so many helpful comments. My wife also wants to thank all of you, and I am glad that this is over now. This story serves as a sobering reminder of how one lie can wreak havoc on multiple lives. It underlines the importance of trust and communication in any relationship, whether it's between friends or spouses. It also brings to light the damaging effects of false accusations, not only on the individual's reputation, but also on their mental and emotional well-being. The narrator's ordeal underscores the necessity to stand firm in one's truth and seek legal recourse when necessary. It is indeed a life-altering experience that undoubtedly leaves a lasting impact. I'm seen as the villain in my family for one simple decision. I didn't invite my cousin to my birthday party. It's not because I don't love her, but because of her unending habit of sneaking off to have public intimate relations at family gatherings. They call me a jerk, but here's how it all went down. I am a 23-year-old woman being chastised by my 51-year-old mother for not wanting to invite my 24-year-old cousin to my birthday party. My cousin and her boyfriend have an annoying habit of sneaking off to engage in intimate activities, often semi-publicly. 6 months ago, at her birthday party at a restaurant, they disappeared when the cake was brought in. My uncle, her father, sent me to find them. I found them engaged in intimate activities in his car, parked in the middle of the lot. This wasn't the first occurrence, as I later learned that my uncle sent me because he didn't want to discover his daughter in that situation again. I left the party after this incident and my mother scolded me, siding with my cousin, who was embarrassed that I left abruptly. She told me I should have endured it to avoid causing a scene. I responded by saying that as an adult I had the right to leave if I felt uncomfortable. Now, my birthday is coming up, and I've made plans for a weekend at my grandmother's beach house with my friends and their boyfriends. When my cousin found out about the party, she was upset that she hadn't been invited. I explained that I didn't want her and her boyfriend's habit to make my guests uncomfortable. Despite her assurance that she wouldn't do it at my party, I didn't believe her and didn't want to risk the potential disruption. My mother, aunt, and cousin have all been pestering me about it since then, but given that I'm independent, they can't force me to extend an invitation. I think I have a right to invite whoever I want, but perhaps I was too harsh. My cousin and I were really close friends, but these past months I've been pulling away from her and I feel a bit bad. So, am I the jerk? English is not my first language, so I may have explained some things a bit weirdly. There are some things I need to clarify. For some reason, some people who commented seem to believe my mother is invited to the party, but she's not. We will have our own mother-daughter day afterward. Some people also had an issue with my grandmother having a beach house, like a strange thing to focus on, but okay. Some people were really rude about the way I handled everything, or to my mother, which I didn't really appreciate. But I've been told that that's how it is on Reddit, so I guess I should have known when posting here. It's a little bit of a disappointing update, but, well, I showed my mother my post, and she was appalled. I had to translate everything for her. She wasn't all too pleased that I decided to share a family matter with internet strangers, but when I told her that my cousin was sharing something much more private to the public, she dropped the issue. She apologized for trying to pressure me into inviting her. Like I said in the comments, she only knew that I caught her one time. But there was some miscommunication because she had thought I just caught her in the bathroom of the restaurant, not the parking lot, which is still bad, but at least there's doors. I told her over the phone, and she's a little hard of hearing, so I believe her. She called my uncle, her brother, cousin's father, and gave him a stern talking to after she learned that he sent me to find cousin knowing what I would find, and for not saying anything when she and his wife were bothering me, knowing the reason why his daughter is not invited. My cousin has blocked me on everything, and I don't really care. But it's strange because, what did I do? Oh, and it turns out that my aunt did know what her daughter is up to. She just thinks that it's her private issues, which is kind of ironic because, well, my mother and I have decided to leave it for now as it is, and we've gone with low contact with them. She is really weirded out. That's all for now. Thank you all for all the kind and helpful comments. Reflecting on this story, it's clear that setting boundaries and standing up for personal comfort at your own events is crucial. It can be difficult when family dynamics come into play, but ultimately, it's important to prioritize your own well-being and the comfort of your guests. Being a part of an unconventional family setup, I never imagined I'd find myself questioning my friendliness towards my baby daddy's girlfriend. But here I am, being called a jerk for refusing to give her his contact after she brazenly threatened to tear apart my family. This is the story of an unexpected pregnancy, a mastermind plan, and the audacity that stunned us all. Here's how it all went down. Current living situation. I, 39 years old, female, live in a house with Tom, 40 years old, male, Ben, 43 years old, male, and our 5 children, 2 boys aged 12 and 11, biologically mine and Tom's, a girl aged 10, another girl aged 8, biologically Ben's and his late wife, Anna's, and a 7-year-old girl, biologically mine and Ben's. Ben and I work. Tom has been a stay-at-home dad since our 11-year-old son was 2. He went back to school 4 years ago. Ben and I cover all household expenses, including any costs for Tom's education. Background. Tom and I met at a party when we were 19. We've been friends ever since, with benefits at times we were both single. While on a holiday together, a condom broke. Due to the location, emergency contraception wasn't available, and when I turned out to be pregnant, we chose to keep the child and moved in together. We were never a couple, but worked great as a family, so we decided to have a second child. Anna was my childhood best friend. She and Ben moved into the flat downstairs from ours when she was pregnant with her daughter. I loved having her close again after living in different cities for years. Sadly, she passed away after a very complicated second labor. Ben and I found comfort in each other, and I ended up pregnant. I didn't notice right away as my method of contraception should have been safe. And I also blamed a lot of the symptoms on grief and guilt. So when I found out, there wasn't really an alternative anymore. Tom was the first one I told. He said he'd welcome another child into our family. Ben was shocked and really struggled to accept it, but we kept in good contact through all of it. We all began having dinner together most nights after our 7-year-old daughter was born. Our 10-year-old and 8-year-old daughters would already spend the day with Tom since he was their caretaker. A couple of years later, my grandmother moved into a retirement home, and Tom and I decided to move into her house. Ben asked if he could move in with us, and we agreed. It's a bit unconventional, but it works for us. Where I might be the jerk, Tom has been with B for the last 3 years. There was some discussion about him asking her to move in about a year ago, but he never did. B and I generally get along. We're not best friends, but I enjoy spending time with her. Well, I used to. She showed up unannounced 3 days ago and demanded to see Tom. However, he's currently on a skiing trip with Ben and the boys. I reminded her of that and then said I would tell him to contact her if there's an emergency. She then proceeds to tell me that she is pregnant with Tom's child, which is highly unlikely, and that she already talked to his parents, and they will buy them a house next to theirs so that they can live there as a family, and that they will be taking the boys with them. That's when I told her to leave, which after some yelling and insults, she did. I've since been called multiple times by her, her best friend, and Tom's parents to try and get his contact, but I'm still refusing to give it away. They've been calling me a jerk among other names for not letting him know that one. B is pregnant. 2. He doesn't need to be abused and exploited anymore. Tom had a vasectomy 11 months ago. He has minimal contact with his parents due to their disapproval of me and our living arrangements. About a year ago, B and Tom visited his parents on their way to their holiday. This was the trip when Tom had planned to ask B to move in with him. According to Tom, his parents complained the way they always did, which led B to make a comment that caused Tom to doubt her understanding of our situation. As a result, he decided not to ask her to move in. In the months following, Tom closely observed B's behavior around us, but noticed nothing suspicious. However, he later discovered that B had maintained contact with his mother since their visit, which led to a significant argument. Despite promising to break off contact with his mother and pleading with Tom not to tell us, their relationship never recovered and slowly deteriorated. The night before the ski trip, Tom was planning to ask B for a break, but that's when she announced her pregnancy. She also mentioned that he'd finally be able to have a real nuclear family. Another big fight ensued, where Tom demanded a paternity test and asserted that while he'd support the child if it was his, he wouldn't move away from us. When I told Tom about B showing up here and her numerous phone calls, he was shocked and apologized for not warning me. He said he would have come home immediately if he knew. Apparently, they were also trying to reach Ben, but Tom managed to convince him to turn off his phone. Tom was furious and wanted to confront B immediately. According to B's claims, Tom's mother came up with a plan for Tom to move in with B and start a real family. She believed I would take her word as their shared plans, get angry at Tom for not telling me, and kick him out, leading him to move in with B immediately. That's the gist of the situation. There's more, but these are the essentials. I'm still processing whether to be shocked at their audacity or amused that they thought this plan could work. This story serves as a reminder of how complex and unexpected human relationships can be. The narrator's unconventional family setup may not be typical, but it clearly provides a loving and stable environment for all involved. The audacity of Bea and Tom's mother's plan is indeed shocking, but their manipulation will likely only strengthen the bonds within this unique family unit. If you enjoyed today's stories, check out the other videos on your screen now. Submit your own stories at you'rethejerk.com. Subscribe now or you're definitely the jerk.